Wow, these lights are blinding. Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Mrs. Orly Gil, Consul General of Israel to the Midwest, Treasurer Dan Rutherford, State Senator Schoenberg, Mr. Steve Levin, Chairman of the Board of Bank Leumi USA, and most of our board members, Mr. Yitzhak Eyal, our CEO, and most of our senior management, dear clients, partners, guests, and colleagues. On behalf of Bank Leumi, I'm pleased to welcome you to this special evening when we announce the reopening of Bank Leumi's regional offices in downtown Chicago. To many of our board members and management from New York, we welcome you to America. You know, here in America, we have a lot of respect to New York and its people. In fact, I'm told that New York is one of our closest allies, same as Israel. You want to know a funny thing? Until like a year or 2 years ago, what was the thing that everybody from New York liked to complain about, speaking of Chicago? You know what it is? The weather. Isn't that funny? So after several snow shutdowns, freezing cold, deadly heat, and a hurricane for dessert, now people from New York are actually thinking of Chicago as a place to escape their weather. Okay, so that's it about New York. This evening is about the greatest city in the U.S. What is the greatest city in the U.S.? Chicago, of course. Chicago. I haven't introduced myself yet. My name is Boaz Blumovich, and I'm responsible for this region of Illinois for Bank Leumi. And tonight we're celebrating an event which for us here in Chicago is something special. 36 years ago, Bank Leumi opened its first office in Chicago. Quite a brave move from an Israeli bank in the 70s, isn't it? It was Zalman Segal then, who later became the bank's CEO, who went against the odds and established the first branch of Leumi in this city. Since then, we have grown, we have expanded, we've had changes, including recently, but through all that, we stayed in the same building. Yes, 36 years. Ba'amayim chai. That tells us a few things. Among them, some changes may take a long time in this bank. Okay. But eventually it happened, and this year, after a long process, we moved to our new location, 1 North LaSalle. Still in the heart of Chicago's financial district, but now we're located in a landmark building, which actually fits us very well, because some say Bank Leumi itself is a sort of landmark in Chicago. You know, our name, other than maybe one or two additional banks, is the only bank that remained in place in Chicago with the same identity, ownership, simply existence for over 36 years. That tells us something again. We are here to stay. This move represents a benchmark of our strong commitment to the region, to Chicago, of Bank Leumi Group to the U.S., and most importantly to all of our clients here. I personally invite you to pay us a visit. At your convenience, I'm looking forward to greeting you there and having the opportunity to personally thank you for your support and confidence over the past 3 decades. Just let us know when you're coming. I will take this opportunity to thank all of those who were responsible for this project, from the managers before me and with me that have since retired from Leumi, to Bradford Allen with my friend Jeff Bernstein, to P&L Architects from Florida, to Partners by Design, to Kloon, to all of the people in the bank and elsewhere who took part in this. Thank you. It is not only an upgrade in terms of real estate, but also a different concept. It represents the new look of Bank Leumi in Illinois, a commercial, middle market, and private banking regional arm of a strong and global financial institution. In Illinois, we continue to operate both from the new downtown office and, in addition, the dedicated private banking office in Highland Park. But I'm not only talking about our operations in Illinois, and it is not only the 36 years in Chicago, but more than 100 years of this bank around the world, as we've just seen. The Leumi Group has maintained its independence for over a century. This ability was not even tarnished through the last financial crisis, which is probably still with us. This bank stayed completely out of the mess, both in the U.S. and all over the world. Not a dollar of TARP money, Fed loans, Israeli government bailouts, any dollar of raising new capital. Now, I've said that before, but I think it is important to repeat. As opposed to Wall Street's greed on one hand, greed that literally caused this financial crisis, and smaller banks' fragile existence on the other, we kept doing what we know, traditional, conservative relationship banking. Because greed is not part of our culture, never was. And irresponsible risk-taking is against everything we stand for. And what is part of our culture, perhaps the main part, indeed, relationship. Again, not the first time I'm saying this, but we are a relationship bank, and many of you here can attest to that. And tonight we wish to thank all of our clients and partners. Thank you for your relationship, for your business and support. So although we do not have any intention to obtain the largest market share in the Midwest, and we're not planning to install an ATM wherever you look, we are here to stay and continue to grow in what we do: commercial banking, international banking, private banking. And to continue to do that in partnership with you, our clients, to keep your money safe, to show you global investment alternatives, to help your business grow even in tough times. And as still the only Israeli bank in Chicago and in the Midwest, to give you a financial window to Israel. I would like to thank all of my colleagues in Illinois, too many to name, but each one of us had a part, and in New York. And a very special thank you to Dorothy Pyant and Diana Sandro, who actually made this event happen. Maybe you'll join me in recognition. With Mia, Cindy, Vivian, and the help of Linda Giangelo, who just moved to Israel, and John McGann, who's still running the show here. And to all of you, thank you for joining us tonight, and Shana Tova. I would like to introduce a dear friend. You know, amidst all this flood of negative economic and market news and data all over the world, and all the political news recently concerning Israel, which is, by the way, always true. There hasn't been 1 week without a news week about Israel. But there was one little piece of news that I'm not sure got a lot of attention here in the U.S. S&P, yes, the same S&P that was all over the news after you know what, also upgraded, yes, you heard right, upgraded the credit rating of the State of Israel to A+. While other countries are struggling and Europe is even debating whether it has a future as a union, Israel got an upgrade. Does it mean that Israel doesn't have its own issues? Not at all. Does it mean that the markets in Israel are going to only go up? Not at all. It is simply an opinion about fiscal responsibility and solid state of balance sheet that Israel represents today. And this is also what I said about the largest Israeli bank: responsibility, solid balance sheet. So with that, I would like to introduce Oli Gil, Consul General of the State of Israel to the Midwest. Oli.